That's a good fish. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about fishing a frog around cypress trees. Go through some of the things I'm thinking about looking at, even a couple fish catches. All right, first fish of the day. Oh, come on, power poles. Cooperate. Oh, yeah. Got the black frog this time. Nice dark fish. These cypress knees hold a ton of bass. And now that the water's over 80 degrees, they should really be eaten. So we're gonna go throw this frog and we got a little Cara frog on, but I'm probably gonna switch to a Poppin frog. Probably compare how those two do today. I usually like the Poppin frog for when we're fishing around cover, but this guy can walk in place really well too. That one fish I caught was right up against the trees, ate it right when it hit the water, so I don't know that we're gonna work too much off the bank. It's cool too, like with these knees, is you don't know how far that stuff comes out, right? It could be 10 feet out, it could just end where you could see it. Water's up really high right now, which is probably my favorite time to throw a frog in this stuff. You could see that, like, leaving a bubble trail behind, that pressure's low or falling, which is always good for top water. Usually that's when I like to throw a buzzbait or a Poppin frog. Still might throw that Poppin frog a little bit. Haven't decided, but just kind of enjoying the night. It's nice out here. I think Virginia, when it starts to get above 80 during the day and humid, no complaints. I hate winter, but the evenings when the sun's going down, it gets off you a little bit, get a little breeze. It's just, the air's just so nice. I'm a huge fan. One of my favorite times to be on the water. There are a few things like a frog that I can just skip all the way back there and work through all of these knees and not have to really worry about it. It skips great. I know that I got enough power behind this rod too. It's not like I'm throwing a wacky rig Senko back there on 8 to 10 pound test. That's a good fish. Oh yeah. Come on, buddy. Swinging him in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Committed to the frog today. That's all I got out. Catching 5-pounders. Yeah. Big old mouth, nice and dark. Let's get this girl back. My scale's dead. Oh, there you go. Good fish, good fish. Guess I'll have to plug in the scale battery for a little bit here. It was a little bit more out. I don't know if she followed it out from the trees, but just paying attention to how how she ate that. Guess we need to fish it out a little bit more. We're on a channel swing here that comes to a point. Maybe we can catch some more like that. That'd be pretty cool. We're gonna take that clue that big fish gave us and, you know, just kind of just work it, tap it on the way in. That almost makes me want to throw a buzz bait the way that fish ate it, but you know, we're committed to the frog. We're not gonna do that. Man, this bait thing is interesting. Bluegills. They're kind of silver looking. I got the Spro bluegill Poppin frog that I might have to throw on. It looks just like those. You know, when you observe something like those bluegills and you're like, all right, I have a lure that more looks like that. A Poppin frog's probably better for fishing close to the trees, but you just caught a fish that was easily over 5 on an all black and red frog. Do you really switch out? I mean, I'm not exactly killing it out here, but got one big fish to eat. Why not another? Only been out for an hour. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I went out fishing every time and every hour I caught a 5-pounder, I think I'd be happy with that, especially tournament fishing. You guys in Texas are probably like, yeah, that's normal. Just grow them different down there. I mean, there's no wind here, so I kind of like the pointy-nose frog version better than the Poppin frog. I actually don't own any of the Poppin swamp lords, surprisingly. I got a couple on the way, but figured I needed to rectify that. I just like stuff that works. I'm pretty happy with the Spro Poppin frogs. Those are pretty good, and the 6 cents ones are really good too. So kind of was leery about venturing out and trying another one, but I do really like the swamp lords. They are really good frogs. They're real heavy, really easy to skip, really easy to cast, especially on a little heavier rod, heavier line. Not that much bigger than a Spro frog. They're just wider, but they are heavier. Just castability is so good. Oh, but sometimes you make mistakes. It's all right. I was hoping a fish would eat it so I could say a happy little mistake, but you know, that's somebody else's line. Skipping the frog. I'm going up to fish the Potomac next week. That should be cool. Used to fish up there all the time. Now I don't make it up quite as often, so team's tournament on Saturday. I'm going to fish Thursday, Friday, get a little practice in, have some fun, hang out with some buddies up there. I don't know if the frog bite's on up there yet. Gonna see if we can find it, but if not, we'll, you know, do the usual Potomac River flipping and chatter bait, swim jig, bite. Might even make my buddy go skip some docks. He loves that. I'm not saying I'm gonna catch one on this, but there's a log that's just like kind of upright right there. That's like really good on these little cuts when you see that in there. It's not always a fish, but when there is, it's usually a big one. Sometimes, you know, you make one presentation, might change the fish's mood a little bit, and come from another angle. Maybe come a little bit faster, go a little bit slower. Today we're just fishing frogs, so I'm not gonna throw anything else, but something like that I'd probably want to flip a couple times at too, just to be sure. But, you know, no rules in fishing, just guidelines. Sometimes you just gotta mess with the cadence. You know, slap the reel a little while you tap it, get it to really, you know, spit like that. Turns, you know, 180 degrees and pretty much works in place. I mean, that frog ain't really moving at all. Do the small taps, a little bit of action on it, like I have been. You can hit it kind of hard a few times. A big bubble like that. Even though it's not a popping frog, still shoot some water. Or you can just, you know, constant work it in. As long as it's moving back and forth, it doesn't look super unnatural, it'll be all right. Pretty much trying to mimic a dying fish. Not really mimicking a frog at all. Bluegill, shiner, whatever it happens to be. You might have taken note that this water is pretty black from the cypress trees. It's all tannic. That's why I like a dark frog. Everything that lives in here really lives shallow. Outside of like the stripers that come in and the catfish, get up against these trees, they just get really dark, just like those fish I caught today. The shell crackers get like that, the bluegills get like that. I know, because I've caught them on wacky rigs. It's just good to know what the forage looks like. I really like a white frog or a bone frog in other areas around here, but I don't know, it's just not something I prefer here. I don't think anything really looks like that. A frog is something you just gotta believe in. You know, you're gonna go long periods of time without catching a fish. When I was out it was my last video that I posted, I think that was last Saturday I was out. I went 3.5 hours without catching fish. I was even rotating through rods then, but I kept coming back to the frog, and then, you know, I just started fishing the frog a little slower, and I got bit. Ended up catching a
bunch of fish in my last 2 or 3 hours fishing the frog. Bite also got more aggressive, so I didn't have to fish it as slow. Just keep paying attention to what the fish are telling you when you get a bite or not getting a bite. You know, it doesn't always mean pick up the Ned rig. It doesn't always mean pick up the drop shot. It doesn't always mean change color or downsize. I usually don't change color on something if I'm not getting bit. I usually change how I'm working it. So like a frog, I switch from white to black as I just don't have confidence in it here. So, but I wouldn't change color because I didn't think they were eating it. Now, if they were swiping at it and missing it, yeah, I'd probably change color. If they're just barely getting it, I'd probably change color. Same with like crankbait fishing, right? You're not gonna go from a shad pattern crankbait to a red crankbait because you're not getting bit at all. You're gonna move or change how you're fishing it if you know your own fish. Now, if they're getting the back treble, then you probably want to change colors. But anyway, that's just my philosophy on picking color, really changing color. Picking color is something you decide before you even get fishing it, tying it on. All right, so I talked a lot about that frog. Looks like a lot of fish catches aren't gonna be today's thing, so we'll talk about another style, and the poppin' frogs. This Spro poppin' frog stays in place really easily just with light taps. The other one you kind of gotta, you know, give it a good handle turn jerk to get it to stay. So for fishing tight to cover, probably say this is a better bait. Around a bluegill spawn, probably better bait. It does walk further side to side, so it's, I guess, a better walking bait. I like them both for walking. They skip about the same. The Spro one's lighter than the Berkley one, so it doesn't quite cast as well. I mean, it's just not as heavy. Makes sense, but it's also a little bit smaller. Different profile. But both work, both are good. Some better than others. Or sometimes, I should say, better than others. Kind of thinking that this one might work better with all that bait kind of just, you know, popping at the surface like that. Might look like a stray guy that's gotten off by himself and can't use numbers as a defense. Oh man, what was that? That was not a bass. I just pulled it under. Very interesting. But yeah, the other one definitely casts better. Other one being the Berkley frog. Well, I hope I shared some useful information with you and you enjoyed the video. Please hit that like and subscribe button. They really help the channel, and drop me a comment if you have any questions or you just want to say something. But I think I'm gonna call it for today. Starting to get dark and the mosquitoes are about to come out. Plus, I don't necessarily like running on these rivers in the dark, so hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.